Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hamdan wa shukran lillah amma ba'du. The Excellency Bu Dr. Arisetia Budiningrum as our honored lecturer in Tefl course. Dear my TPE friends rahimakumullah. Thank you for the chance given. Let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Nuril Huda and I would like to present the seventh topic of Tefl course discussing about instruction in the creating the four skills. Firstly, let's talk about the historical background. I found 3 points here which could be the urgency of this topic. Primarily, language skills have always been essential for achievements in academic and personal and professional life. During a long period of history, linguistic scientists considered reading, writing, listening, and speaking as separated language skills. They were included in the language learning process as the distinct part of the lesson. Therefore, there were not any efforts to integrate these four skills to make students achieve higher levels of language knowledge and develop their communicative skills. The situation has changed from the 1970s when most professionals noticed that the teaching of language skills cannot be conducted through separate and discrete structural elements. The background points are followed by the second slide telling about the principles. Language should not be taught in discrete chunks of reading, writing, speaking, and listening, but as a whole. Students need to be exposed to a large amount of language in order to develop their language skills. The third, if students use the four skills in the process of solving problems and completing tasks, they will develop these skills better than if these skills are isolated. The fourth, a supportive environment is important for the full development of language proficiency. Here we come to the important chapter. It is about the approach of instruction integrated for skills. We have 5 types of integrated skill instruction. The first, content-based instruction integrates the learning of some specific subject matter content with the learning of a second language. The second language is simply the medium to convey informational content of interest and relevance to the learner. The learners focus on useful practical non-language objectives as the subject matter is perceived to be relevant to long-term goals. As you plan a lesson around the particular subtopic of your subject matter area, students integrate all 4 skills as they read, discuss, solve problems, analyze data, and write opinions and reports. Second, task-based language teaching. The priority is not the forms of language, but rather the functional purposes for which language must be used, such as enhancing opinions, expressing feelings, asking for permission, and etc. The importance of organizing course around real-world communicative tasks that learners need to engage outside the classroom. The third, theme-based teaching courses focus on topics, situation, or themes as one of their organizing parameters. The language skills are enhanced but through focal attention to topic and peripheral attention to language. Challenging topics engage the curiosity and increase motivation of the students as they grapple with an array of real-life issues ranging from simple to complex. The fourth, experiential learning gives the students concrete experiences through which they discover language principles by trial and error, by processing feedback, and by building hypotheses about language. Teachers do not simply tell students about how language works. Instead, they give students opportunities to use language as they grapple with the problem-solving complexities of a variety of concrete experiences. The last, theme episode hypothesis. Language presentation is enhanced when students receive interconnected sentences in interest-provoking episodes rather than in a disconnected series of sentences. Episodes can be presented in either written or spoken form, and students in turn can respond to them by speaking or writing. Ladies and gentlemen, and now let me give you the example of the instructions integrated for skills teaching design. The design will involve the objectives of process, which are meaningful communication learners, the development of communicative competence, the ability to read, write, speak, and listen makes the learners productive members of society. The next, the syllabus which following it will be like listening. The learners hear a new item. It will be like from sound, word, grammar feature, and etc. For the speaking, the learners tries to repeat the new item. For reading, the learner sees the new item in written form. For the writing, the learner produces the written form of the item. So, it is appropriate for listening to precede speaking and reading to precede writing to provide comprehensive input. Next, the types of learning and teaching activities. The activities used by the teachers in the integrated approach are real-life activities and situations. For example, taking from the radio, email, movies, telephone conversation, role play, and as a result, it will create an interactive learning environment. So that, ladies and gentlemen, the learners have the important roles. First, learners are engaged in real-life communication rather than the mechanical practice of skills. The second, they interact with each other by evaluating their colleagues' exercises. The last, each student is encouraged to respond to other students' work. Moreover, the teacher's role are teach students how to practice language skills independently, make the learners aware of learning strategies with the focus not only on language but also on the learning process itself. The third, develop and use exercise and the activities involving activity, participation, interaction, and collaboration. The last, the teacher connect productive and receptive performance, including several skills areas. The last, we have the role instructional materials. The first, the instructional materials play an essential role in the learning process. The second, teachers should use realistic materials such as articles from the newspaper and magazines, emails, movie scenes to involve the students in real-life situations. It will give the opportunities to students to interact with each other. So, in addition, let me elaborate the procedure of the teaching activities. First, the teacher introduces a topic by playing a tape or reading the topic, and of course the students will listen to the audio. The second, students will discuss what they understand with their teacher or friends orally. The third, after making sure that everything is clear for the learners, the teacher gives them an article about the specific topic to read. The fourth, students read the article and share their ideas about it each other orally. The last, the teacher asks them to write a similar article about another topic after making sure that they get the writing structure and techniques of an article. In this case, on point 1 we have the listening activity, or point 2 we have the speaking activity, point 3 and 4 we have the reading activity, and point 5 we have the writing activity. Now, let's discuss the advantages and disadvantages of integrating for skills in teaching process. The advantages are integrated skill approach process English language learners to authentic language and challenge them to interact naturally in language. The learners rapidly gain a true picture of the richness and completely of the English language as employed for communication. This approach stresses that English is not just an object of academic interest, nor merely a key to passing an examinations. Instead, English becomes a real means of interaction and sharing among people. This approach allows teachers to track students' progress in multiple skills at the same time. And then integrating the language skills also promotes the learning of real content, not just the dissection of the language forms. The last, the integrated skill approach, whether found in content-based or task-based language instructional, can be highly motivating the students of all ages and backgrounds. And for the disadvantages of integrating the four skills are, it can be depending of the teacher to understand discourse and to use the instructional materials flexibly. It can be time consuming, requiring a lot of preparations too, and not all classes are integrated because every student feels the need to improve one certain skill only. Finally, the conclusion are: the first, integrating skill approach is essential for communicative competence. That is the main aim of learning foreign languages. It improves and enhances all the basic skills all at once. Second, the integrated skill approach, or ISA, exposes English foreign language learners to authentic language and challenges them to interact naturalistically in the language. In the ISA, learners rapidly gain a true picture of the richness and complexity of the English language as employed for communication. English becomes a real means in the interaction and sharing among people. Integrating the language skills also promotes the learning of real content, not just the dissection of the language form. And finally, the ISA, whether found in content-based or the other based type, it can be highly motivating the student of all ages and backgrounds. That's all from me, telling about the seventh topic, instruction integrated the four skills. Thank you very much for your attention. Let's discuss more about it on our WhatsApp group, and may Allah always bless you all. Akhirul kalam, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.